What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. Today, we are going to be making our very own tier list. Now, there are a few of them that caught my eyes, and we've seen them all on, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And what you do is pretty much just rank whatever category it is in whatever tiers that are given. Now, you can even customize them. I did this on tiermaker.com. There's a few other ones that I'm actually looking to do. There's one on NBA team tiers. So probably next week as we head into the second half of the season, I'll rank the teams by tier. There's also ones like former greats, best players of all time, all that kind of stuff. So I might look into doing more of those. Do let me know what you think of these videos. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. Before we get started, if you could like, subscribe, share, and comment, I'd greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so today we're going to be doing the best centers in the NBA this season. Starting centers. Now, small thing to take note of, this list was made at the beginning of the season, so not all these guys start. Some of them are injured, what have you. So we're just going to go with the guys on the list. I'll even talk about some of their replacements as well. But right off the bat, superstar. Now, there's three guys that come to mind, right? It's going to be Joel Embiid, and then you also have Nikola Jokic, two MVP candidates, just the focal point of their team. You have Joel Embiid, who's, scoring at will, it seems like, a beast on the boards, and also really good on defense. And that's why I put him kind of ahead of Jokic, just because of his ability to be so dominant on the defensive side, just as a really good rim protector. Jokic, obviously, he has the passing advantage, able to get his own whenever as well. I like that he's looking for a shot more and not just being a facilitator, or more so a facilitator like he has at times in the past. He's been more aggressive. Obviously, he has the jump shot, the post game, little floater, can pass. Not as good as Embiid on defense, which is one of his weaknesses, and really the Nuggets' weakness as a whole this season. But also, you have Embiid as the guy on a better team at this point. So put Embiid ahead of Jokic, but obvious superstars, face of their franchises. Can't argue there. The third guy is Anthony Davis, because he this year is playing at an all-star level, right? And some even argue that he shouldn't have been an all-star. I was one of those guys. But he's definitely not, you're never going to call Anthony Davis an above average player, right? So he's at least an all-star. And it depends if you want to make this list on how good the player is or how good they are playing right now, because those two things are very different. And I'm just knowing what Anthony Davis is capable of. I know he's not playing like an all-star this season, or not playing above average, but not playing like a superstar this season. Inclined to put him at all-star, but I'm just going to put him as superstar because I know what he's capable of. I think he is going to have a better second half of the season. But you could convince me to put him at an all-star for just going by how they're playing at the moment. So now you look at all-stars. Who are the all-stars? You have Vucevic. You also have, where is he? You have Rudy Gobert. And then I know he didn't make an all-star game this season, but Bam Adebayo, I don't think I can put Bam as just an above average player. I think he is all-star caliber. You could still make the argument he deserved to be there. His team did struggle a bit, but continues to show improvement, especially as a scorer this season, and he should be an all-star for years to come. Have him at that level. Talking about Rudy Gobert, he doesn't always get the respect that I know he wants, but a very solid player, probably the most important player on his team, and a defensive anchor. Really just changes the dynamic of that team. And Vucevic, what can I say, man? Finally gets, I think, his second All Star appearance, and he doesn't get the recognition despite putting up good numbers. I know he plays in Orlando, but it's also because his game isn't necessarily flashy. Much more of a traditional big man, posting up, pick and pop, has extended his range to a 3-point line. Not a great defender, but I think he isn't the liability on defense that he once was, or that he once was thought to be. But nonetheless, all star. I think if those six is pretty, it's no question about it. You can switch the order if you want, but in terms of just, having those guys in those two categories, I think that's settled. So now This is where it gets hard because there's a lot of different tiers, a lot of guys who you could argue for multiple tiers. So I'm just gonna try to obviously just do my best, right? Above average players, who can I single out off the top? I think Clint Capella. I think his stats are a little bit inflated and his influence is a little bit overweight or overestimated at times, but still averaging 14 and 14. I think he's better than an average player, but he's not an all-star. So keep him there. Um, Andre Drummond, he puts up good numbers. I do think that he is underwhelmingly. I don't know. I feel like his impact on the game is underwhelming at times, despite his good-looking numbers. But again, I don't think he's an average player. I think he's a little bit better. Put him above average for now. I think Miles Turner, very impressed with him. Obviously, an elite rim protector, leading the league in blocks. I do wish he had expanded his game a bit more in the last couple of years. I feel like it stagnated a bit. I remember 2, 3 years ago, there was that picture of him shirtless with like losing a lot of body fat and saying he's kind of, you know, ready to take it to the next level and that he was fully, finally, like super in shape. And I expected a lot from him because his first couple years, he looked like a really promising player. And not that he isn't a solid player now, again, above average, but I feel like he's never really taken that next step. And I wish he developed a bit more of a post game. And I know his jump shots, reliable to an extent at this point, and along with the blocks, you take it. And you can also make the point that Sabonis and Brogdon and Oladipo coming back and TJ Warren, those guys have definitely hurt his chances, but two of those guys aren't in the lineup right now, and he's still not really producing on offense. So it is what it is, but I don't think you can understate his impact or his importance on that team either, and definitely better than an average player. Who else now would I put in the above average category? Christian Wood, definitely. He was on the pace to be considered an all-star. I know he missed some games, had some ups and downs, and his team overall struggling. But when he is on the court, very good. I'm happy to see him succeeding after really breaking out in the second half of last season. After or whenever Blake went out, he just kind of took off, right? And it's still kind of confusing what Detroit did in letting him go and then signing Plumlee and Jeremy Grant and getting older. But nonetheless, getting his opportunity to shine in Houston. And again, when he's on the court, showing it all really. He can definitely get stronger, become a better post player, can continue to improve as an individual defender, but he's still a solid rim protector because of his athleticism. Can shoot the three, can take guys off the dribble. I'm excited to see how he continues to develop. Carl Anthony, I think, is someone I forgot. I guess I'll put him in the All Star. I know he didn't make the All Star game. He's gone through a pretty tough year and a half. I know he's lost a lot of people in his life. He went through COVID himself, and his team isn't doing great. But Cat's someone who has superstar talent. He has the talent to be possibly the best big in the league. He hasn't been able to put it together. Part of that is his team. Part of that is him. I'm not saying he doesn't have the work ethic or it's his attitude, but he just hasn't put it together yet. He's still young, and there's still time for him to possibly become the best big in the league. While it is difficult as long as Jokic and Embiid are healthy and in the league, but I can't I can't put Cat at an above average level. He just has too much talent, and he's an all. I know he didn't make the All Star team, but again, he's All Star talent to me. So I forgot about that, but I'll put him there. Who else is above average, right? Because you're looking at guys here, and DeAndre Ayton's a guy you can make a case for. His numbers are a little bit down, but I do think he has good talent. Valanciunas, I love watching Valanciunas. I think his toughness, and he just does all the little things. He's an underrated passer. He can score when he needs to. A traditional big in all sense of the word, sets really hard screens. Gets just again does all the dirty work. Good rebounder, and I really like having him. Um, you know, I loved him in Toronto. I think he's good for Memphis. He's a guy you just love having on your team. I would definitely have him at above average. Nurkic, when he's healthy, above average. Right, he's missed some time now with I think a fractured wrist, but he is on his way back, which is good news for Portland. And Dame has actually been playing, right, just super insane, and they haven't missed Nurkic too much, in large part due to Enes Kanter. Shout out Enes Kanter, Knicks legend. But yeah, Enes Kanter's been averaging a double double around 11 and 11. He's always been a very efficient scorer and great rebounder. Shooting a high percentage. Another guy who sets hard screens. Doesn't give you a lot outside of points and rebounds. He's not going to make a lot of plays for other guys. Not a great rebounder. Although Terry Stotts has said that he has become an improved defender. But yeah, Nurkic, very good chemistry also with CJ and Dame. So it'll be exciting to see him back, healthy, and to see if Portland improves or kind of just stays the same or gets worse. I don't think they will, but you can see how much of a difference he makes, because I remember when he came back around at the bubble last year, he really took that team to the next level. So again, this year they haven't missed his absence as much because or felt his absence as much because of Cantor being back, but he should only improve that team. And they're in the midst of a very tight and important playoff race, right? So who else would I put in the above average? I'm gonna put Mitchell Robinson. I think he's one of those guys whose stats don't look great. Nothing. They're not bad, but they don't look crazy or anything. But his impact, if you've watched Knicks games, is insane. And Nerlens Noel has filled in pretty admirably because he does similar things to Mitchell Robinson. They're both really good rim protectors. But Mitchell Robinson, I think, is still an above average player. He's one of those guys where analytics, I think, will show that even if he doesn't get a lot of blocks, because in the past he had pretty good block numbers as well, but he also got into a lot of foul trouble. But the amount of shots he impacts without even getting a block is really important for a Thibodeau-led team that focuses a lot on defense. And they don't have the best offensive numbers, so a lot of their wins come from just playing hard-nosed defense, playing good team defense, and it's not even like they have the best perimeter defenders. Alfred Payton's a very solid defender. Emmanuel Quickly's a solid defender, but you have guys like RJ Barrett, who's still an improving defender. You have Alec Burks, who tries but not the greatest defender. Derrick Rose, same thing, and Reggie Bullock tries, but he's by no means a lockdown defender. But they're able to still play good defense because, again, Mitchell Robinson, and he's out right now with a broken hand, I think. Should be out probably another few weeks. And Nerlens Noel are both elite rim protectors, not even in terms of blocks, but also in terms of just altering shots and helping guys out. So a big part of that team, and I think that's another way I am kind of trying to rank this, not just how good they are individually, but how important they are to their team. So I would have Mitch Robinson above average. I think that's it for average players or above average players. Um, James Wiseman should probably be at the top or near the top of average. I think he has a lot of potential. He's shown some really, really good games, a lot of potential, and the Warriors, as well as just most people in the league, are high on him. His ability to shoot the three, and I think, just his ability to protect the rim. He can get better as a rebounder, but when he does get the rebound, even get out into transition and make some plays either for himself or for other people. Although it hasn't happened too much, just a lot of potential. Still pretty raw, but the versatility is there. I think he's one of the higher guys on average. Who else would I have there? Mason Plumlee having a very good season. Has already had a few triple doubles, maybe only two, but multiple triple doubles. Having a good season in Detroit. Who else would I want to put there? I think Brook Lopez has slowed down. Last year, I would have had him above average, but he's slowed down significantly on defense. Isn't the rim protector he once was. He's never been a great rebounder, but still not. And his three-point shooting is there, but that's really all he gives Milwaukee. Now, he is still important to that team because of the way he can space the floor and the little rim protection he can still give. But I think especially seeing the downfall and seeing the age kind of catch up this year, I would have him closer to the top half of average than the bottom half of above average. But you could, if he picks it up a bit, you could definitely make the case to kind of include him on the bottom half of the above average. Hold on, let me move some of these guys around. Um, Probably have this here, probably have this here, probably have some sort of that. I think would be a fair list. And then on this, probably like that. And then, yeah. So, and then you have these guys. Is there anyone else here that I would put average? You could put, I guess, Serge as an average guy. Had a really good season last year, one of his best, if not best, scoring years last season. Obviously, his numbers are down given the opportunities. His defense has fallen off, and it's been a trend, a trajectory that we've seen the last few years, but more so this year. Pretty obvious, not a great defender anymore. Um, but I would still say an average player. And let's see, I think Willie Cauley Stein is bad. No offense to him, but um, it's interesting. When I was looking up Willie Cauley Stein stats and just some stuff about him when I was doing this, one of the questions, because you have Google questions that come up of like most searched questions, right? The first question was, what happened to Willie Cauley Stein? And he was one of those Kentucky guys that had a lot of hype, never panned out. Maybe he can take a page out of the book of a guy that we talked about, Nerlens Noel, who went through the same thing of being a super hyped up Kentucky player, was called maybe even a bust, had some injuries and didn't look great. And then Noel talked about how he really learned to be his most effective self and how to play winning basketball in OKC. It's never too late. Maybe Willie Cauley Stein can turn around at some point, but he just hasn't been good. Um, he shows flashes of like being the athletic rim protector, a rim runner, but he just is just inconsistent. And he even the minutes in Dallas are inconsistent for him. So I don't really think he's great. Um, I wouldn't even put him below average. I think he's just bad right now. And then you have Robin Lopez, who I think is just bad production. I mean, he's been solid. He's filled in for Thomas Bryant. I think he's a solid player, but if you put him on a winning team, I don't think he gets a lot of minutes. Um, and I'm a Robin Lopez fan. I loved him in Portland. I loved him when he came to New York, but I just don't think he's that good anymore. Um, Aaron Baines, probably bad. He's at least for starting. This is all I remember. I'm looking at this from starting centers. If you put Robin Lopez as a starting center, it's bad. I don't think Aaron Baines should be a starting center, and you have guys like Chris Boucher getting a lot of minutes as well. Um, LaMarcus Aldridge averaging, I think, about 13 points. Not getting a lot of minutes. I still put him at average because I think he's a solid player. If you put the right pieces around him, if it's a strong team, I think he can be an average starting center. Um, DeAndre Jordan, I think, is average. I think it's cleared. His drop off just isn't the defender he used to be, isn't the rebounder he used to be. He's still solid though. He again kind of like his role in Brooklyn. If you give him the right pieces around him, I think he can be average. I wouldn't say DeAndre is a bad or below average starter for Brooklyn, but yeah, I mean he just isn't what he used to be. Wendell Carter has actually been surprisingly solid. I was disappointed in his first couple seasons. I thought he didn't show much. I thought that his shot blocking and 3-point shooting, which were both things that he did really well at Duke, were lackluster. But he's been a pretty solid piece for a Chicago team that has surprised some people. So I would have him average. Steven Adams, I think, is below average. Part of it is fit. I hate his fit in New Orleans. I think he just clogs the floor up for Brandon Ingram and Zion, and his free throw shooting has never been great. I think that his defense, through some of the injuries and age, has been kind of um, uh, worsening. And it's not a bad defender by any means, but I think his team defense was the one thing that really set him apart. I feel like he's gotten a little better, a little worse at that. I put him below average, but you can arguably put him on the probably latter half of the average section. Al Horford, I think he is average. I think given the right system and team, he could still be an average player. Um, he's already had some 20-point games this year. Shows glimpses of what he has left. He's in a weird situation now where he's a very old vet on a team that is trying to rebuild. Um, I'm sure he is not only really focused on, making himself look good or getting numbers. He's never been that kind of player to begin with, but especially this year, I think he's just, kind of in a weird spot. If he were to go to a contending team, I think he could still be an average starting center. Definitely not a power forward though. Like the whole situation with him in Philadelphia didn't work out, so he has to find the right fit. But given the right fit, I think because of his defense and his 3-point shooting, or I guess limited but somewhat um, decent ability to shoot threes, he can still be an average starter. Daniel Theis, below average, not by far though. You could make a case for average. He's solid in Boston, but I don't think he's anything to write home about. Cody Zeller, actually been pretty solid. I'm put him average. Really not much to say about him. He's always been that kind of that guy. Not much to talk about. Not a flashy game. Just hustles, sets good screens, rebounds, scores when you need him to here and there. Good teammate. I would say average. And Richaun Holmes, I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch too many Kings games. Richaun Holmes is someone that just tries really hard, has solid games. I don't know if it's a situation where he just puts up numbers on a losing team. We've yet to really see him given a chance to either be the full-time starter for a winning team or just get a lot of opportunities. I would have him average though, somewhere in this area. You can make that argument. I think this is pretty much my tier list, at least for now. This is taking again into account their skill level, how important they are to their team, and how their team is doing. Um, Definitely some things that you can argue. Again, some people might argue for Steven Adams or Tice being higher. Um, I wouldn't have him there. LaMarcus could be lower. You could have Aaron Baines or Robin Lopez maybe below average instead of bad. But as starters, I don't think those are guys I want as starters. You have, yeah, but I mean, I think I did a pretty good job here. Um, at least again, considering into and just everything, right? So that'll be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do let me know what you thought about these kind of, I guess, videos, content like this. Wanted to switch things up a bit. And yeah, remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment. We are keep_it_hoop on Instagram and keep it hoop blog on Twitter. We, again, like I stated, I think in my earlier videos, started streaming on Twitch, and I'll have the link in the description below for that. But yeah, that'll be it for today. We should be back maybe tomorrow, but definitely Monday. We'll be out with another video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you guys then.